In some countries, this is siesta time, but not here today. So hopefully you all got a little something to eat and ready to move on. I think we are probably item 28.
Commissioners will do item 28 on the information calendar. We're going to add that one to information calendar so you can move to 29.
Okay, thank you. Move on to 29.
Item 29, Commissioners, is the CMIA status report, and Kurt Scherzinger will give those reports.
Good afternoon, Chair Tavallone, Commissioners. I will take both this item and the Route 99 status report, item 30, together. For the CMIA program, all of the original 54 projects, as this is kind of a little bit of recap of what we heard earlier, later split into 79 construction contracts, programmed in 2007, have been allocated. That's all of them. An additional 38 projects were amended into the program using construction bid savings captured at award. One project remains to be allocated and is delivered and ready for allocation today. For the Route 99 program, there are 6 remaining projects totaling $210 million of bond funds. All of those projects are delivered and ready for allocation. So today we add one more thing to the list of those things that are done. We have delivered to you for allocation all of the programmed CMIA and Route 99 projects as promised, and on time as promised. Though it was a massive feat, the objective to deliver the program commitments was met and is now done. Done's one of my favorite words.
Even though it's 4 letters.
By the numbers, this comes to over $11 billion of bond and other funding for 140 construction contracts. So from inception in July 2007 to expected completion of the last project around 2017, an average of about $3.1 million per day, every day, 365 days a year, will have been invested into projects for both programs. That's a lot of money. That's also a lot of jobs and a lot of congestion reduction benefits for the citizens of our state. So it's fair to pause and acknowledge all the hard work done by so many people. Work done not only by countless members of people at Caltrans, but at the regional and local agency level, in the private sector, and by you and your own staff. So it's also fair to just say, this is what we do. We deliver needed transportation improvements. But a lot of work remains to be done. The Department of the Regions remain committed to award every CMIA project by December of this year. This concludes my report.
Any questions?
No.
No, it's not action. No. I think now what we'll do is go back to item 17. If that's agreed with everyone here, that's where we'll go, back to item number 17.
Mr. Chair, may I make a comment, since I've made several already on this issue?
Commissioner Harp, you have the floor.
One more.
After giving it further consideration and checking on some facts, and I don't know if Commissioner Gilmetti's original motion had a second at the time. It seemed to me we deferred to listen to everybody before we actually finalized the motion. So if that's the case, I will make a motion that we go ahead and accept a staff recommendation to move this item. Having studied the legislature for many years, they seem to be able to do this about face very easily. And so I'm just trying to follow it, just practice it a little bit.
Does that mean you're running for office?
No, I think I'm being a little irreverent right now, but I do want to emphasize that I'm not speaking for the rest of the commission on this, but as far as my particular feeling on this is that these are good projects, and they do. I don't want anyone to get the notion that if we were to defer that we don't think they're good projects. They are good projects, and I do believe that there will be ample opportunity down the road when the appropriation for this money is considered, that the debate as to what's the best way to use the voters' money will be vetted very thoroughly. So with that in mind, I would like to go ahead and make the motion that we accept staff recommendation on this.
And I'll second that motion with the comment that I think we need to send a message that's clear. One, that regardless of other bodies, we are keeping our responsibility to the high-speed rail bond program with our share, with good projects, fully vetted by staff and regions with public input. Two, that we're sending a message to Secretary LaHood and the administration, who have been taking a lot of heat on high-speed rail, that we are doing our best to move forward, and as Jim Arp so eloquently put, nudging the legislature appropriately, that they need to act and do their job now.
Commissioner Gilmetti?
Mr. Chair, thank you. I'd just like to make a comment before we vote that, the voters originally approved high-speed rail, and they also approved this connectivity portion of it. And I think in my mind, the voters are expecting them to go together. So I just hope the legislature, when they finally do vote on it, they do the right thing for the voters of California.
Well said.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A second. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We'll move on to item number 30.
I think we're at 31.
31, I'm sorry.
Did we need to vote on 29 and 30, or no?
Under Agenda Item 31, the Design-Build Demonstration Program legislation requires that the Commission authorize projects for the design-build method of project procurement. The legislation also requires that after a design-build contract is awarded, the awarding entity submit a progress report to the Commission no later than June 30th of each year after contract award. Ray Tritt is here to present the Department's first annual progress report on the projects the Commission authorized for design-build procurement by the Department of Transportation. The only non-department delivery project authorized by the Commission is Riverside 91 Express Lane project. Has not been awarded, so at this time no report is required from RCTC, but we will be dealing with some extension requests for that project. So here is Ray to give the report.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. This is our first annual report on the Design-Build Demonstration Program. Design-Build allows the department to award a contract before design is complete, and then the design builder that wins the contract is responsible for completing the design and the construction of that project. What that allows is the designer and the contractor work together to potentially create a more cost-effective and constructible project. And this is much different than our normal process, where the department completes design, awards a contract to a contractor without having the benefit of input from contractors on whether that design is the best or the most cost-effective. Our normal process works for a majority of projects, but there are some projects that would benefit from that constructor input. Design-Build has been used throughout the United States. It's actually been used in California. The Design-Build Demonstration Program is the first opportunity for the department to use Design-Build. Senate Bill 4, which passed in 2009, and it's incorporated into Public Contract Code 6800, authorizes the department to use up to 10 projects, use Design-Build on 10 projects that are authorized by the CTC. The Commission has, to date, authorized 8 of those 10 projects. We actually held back on the final 2 projects. We're going to be put out a call for projects just this week. We're going to come back to you in the fall with those final 2 projects. Our hope was that we can incorporate lessons learned from the first few projects into the last projects. So 6 of the 8 projects that you have authorized have now been awarded. 2 of the projects are in procurement. You heard earlier about the Gerald Desmond Bridge. That one will be awarded next month. The other project that we're working on currently is the DeVore Interchange here in San Bernardino County, and that project will be awarded in November. As far as where the projects are in the design-build phase, we have 2 projects that are in construction. They're actually active construction. 2 projects will begin construction in the next month, and then 2 projects will be complete in the next fiscal year. We have 1 project that's due to be completed in December and 1 in May of next fiscal year. As far as what we've seen so far in the projects is we are achieving some time savings. We've seen the bids come in at between 20 and 30% below our estimates. Some of that is due to the economy. We see that even on our design bid build projects. But we are seeing quite a bit of innovation from the contractors. And the benefit of the innovation and design build is that we get to approve the innovation before we award the contract. So we get the full savings, as opposed to design bid build where we have to do a change order and negotiate the price. And typically we split the savings 50-50. The other thing that we have learned is from both industry and our experience is that the statute requires that we pre-qualify rather than shortlist. We found that to be very time-consuming and very expensive for industry. Most states have the ability to shortlist to 3 to 5 proposers. We've had to pre-qualify up to 8 proposers on our projects. And what that does is each of the proposers are spending in the neighborhood of $250,000 to $1 million to put a proposal together, and then they have a 1 in 8 chance of winning that contract. And so it's a very inefficient use of their resources. We'd be much better served, I think, by being able to shortlist. So one of our initial recommendations that we'll make in future reports is that we ask for pre-qualification or shortlisting in the future, not pre-qualification. The other thing we've seen is quite a bit of innovation, and the innovation isn't so much that it's a new idea that's never been seen before, but it's new applications of those ideas. We're seeing suggestions from contractors of different bridge types, different staging, different construction techniques, and different geometric changes to the project. And we're seeing upwards of 10% savings on some of these projects just from the innovations that these design builders are bringing to that. With that, that's the end of my report. We look forward to coming back on annual basis and report more information on these projects. Be glad to take any questions if you have any.
Any questions, Commissioners? Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen?
Okay, we're now to agenda item 32. The Commission is required to submit a midterm report of its findings regarding the Design Build Demonstration Program to the Legislature no later than June 30th of 2012. The Commission's midterm report is tied to a requirement that the Commission establish a peer review committee to conduct an evaluation of the project selected to utilize the Design Build procurement method. The peer review committee is to examine the procurement method, compare the low bid, best value variance, and compare the design build projects to similar transportation projects that utilize the design bid build procurement method. Since none of the 9 projects that the Commission has authorized for design build procurement has completed construction, there's no data for the peer review committee to evaluate and compare. Therefore, the peer review committee has not been established and the Commission has no findings to report. Staff recommends that the Commission authorize the Executive Director to send the draft letters attached to the book item explaining the situation and indicating that as soon as sufficient data is available, a peer review committee will be established and preliminary findings will be reported to the Legislature.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 33.
Yeah, hi. Again, my name is Kurt Scherzinger. I'll be covering this report for Carla Sutliff, the Department's Division Chief of Project Management. This is the third quarter project delivery report for fiscal year 11-12. The report is included in your binder. The Department has, regarding the contract for delivery, the Department is committed to delivering 279 projects to ready-to-list status for an estimated construction value of $3.2 billion. 162 of the 182, 89% of the projects planned for delivery through the third quarter were delivered. 6 of them were delivered early. Regarding the award status, page 17 looks at the award status for the last 6 years of contract for delivery through the third quarter of this year. As previously reported, 100% of the first 4 year of contract projects have been awarded, and 99% of the fiscal year 9-10 projects have been awarded. 95% of the 10-11 projects are awarded. Regarding the environmental documents, page 18 of the report contains information on the environmental milestones. 128 of 147, 87%, of the final environmental documents planned through the third quarter were delivered. Of the draft environmental documents planned, 19 of 34 through the third quarter have been delivered. Regarding right-of-way, on page 19, 70% of the right-of-way expenditures were achieved through the third quarter. 179 of 201 of those of the right-of-way certifications planned through the third quarter were delivered. Regarding construction contract administration, 166 of 218, that's 76% of the construction contract administrations planned through the third quarter were achieved. The department has 38 construction contracts in arbitration. During the third quarter, 2 new arbitration cases were filed and 4 were settled. And this report provides cost information for support and capital expenditures funded by state funding at this time, at the time the project has achieved construction contract acceptance. STIP projects for fiscal year 11-12, quarters 1, 2, and 3. Page 22 covers the STIP projects administered by the department that completed construction through the third quarter of the 11-12 fiscal year. 26 STIP projects completed construction during this time frame. Looking at the total expenditures, $1.49 billion, or 97%, was expended against a $1.54 billion budget. SHOP. Page 24 covers the SHOP projects with all 4 support components program that completed construction through the third quarter of this fiscal year. 153 projects completed construction during this time frame. $842 million, or about 69%, was expended against a $1.2 billion budget. So this concludes my report for Carl.
Any questions? Thank you. Item number 34, please.
Okay, that's me again. So we covered, this is the Prop 1B quarterly third quarter report. I already addressed the CMIA and Route 99 programs, so I'll quickly run through the remaining Prop 1B programs. The bridge seismic program budget of $125 million is to be allocated to provide the 11.47% required local match for right-of-way and construction phases of the remaining seismic retrofit work on the bridge ramps. In the program, originally there was 479 program projects. Currently, 428 in the program. There are 171 bridges under construction, and 128 of the total program are completed. You've allocated $51.9 million of the $125 million, and 6 bridges are still in pre-strategy. The TLSP program, the Traffic Light Synchronization Program, the Prop 1B provided $250 million. $150 million to the City of LA and $100 million to agencies other than the City of Los Angeles. 84 projects originally adopted into the program as of the third quarter of this year, and just 10 remain to be allocated. So far, you've allocated over $194 million for the TLSP program to 71 projects. On the state and local partnership program, there are currently 118 projects programmed with a total of $539 million. 86 projects have been allocated for a total of $465 million. Formula funded projects will continue to be programmed for Cycle 4 until the end of the current year. 26 projects have been completed as of the end of the third quarter. All SLPP funds must be programmed and allocated by June 30th of 2013. The HRCSA program, status of the 2008 program, a total of $149 million for 16 projects was allocated for the 2008 HRCSA program. Part 1, $84 million roughly allocated for 8 projects. Part 2, another $64 million for another 8 projects. A total of $73 million for 9 projects remain in the HRCSA 2010 program. All 2010 HRCSA baselines have been approved. For the Intercity Rail program, 16 projects remain in the program. There were originally 14 projects. One additional project was added and one was split in two. For TCIF program, 70 projects have been adopted into the TCIF program by the CTC. To date, 30 TCIF projects have received allocations totaling roughly $1.3 billion, which includes the 2 TCIF shop-funded projects at $350 million. The grand total of TCIF bond funds allocated so far approaches $1 billion. Progress continues on implementing the adopted program. 2 more projects are completed with the environmental, and 3 more projects have completed design since the last report, as well as 3 more have completed right-of-way. And then additionally, since the last report, 3 more projects began construction in this quarter for a total of 15 under construction. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions? Item number 35.
Yes, Commissioners, item 35 is an information item. This is the quarterly report, the local assistance lump sum allocation. Normally you see this on the information calendar, but we pulled it to discuss it partly because we're doing another allocation for this. But I wanted to say that there's actually some really good news about this. There's about 50% of the local assistance lump sum has now been sub-allocated, and that's compared to last year at this time, they had 43% sub-allocated. So they're actually running a little bit ahead of what they did last year. And the department, of course, is on track to fully utilize all of that local assistance lump sum by the end of the fiscal year, the federal fiscal year. And so we just wanted to sort of let you know about those good news. And then that sort of segues into the next item that I would like to take 140, or 146, I'm sorry, 146 if I can. And that is the request for allocation of local assistance lump sum of the state funds. Do we have enough? Staff would recommend that we approve that allocation.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now we're 36?
Yes.
Item number 36.
Commissioners, item 36 is a preliminary closeout report on the 11-12 shop minor program. This is for the current fiscal year. The department received an allocation of $75,437,000, and they've been able to deliver 99.1%. So that program also, that lump sum has been almost totally spent. The department intends on coming back with the final report at the September meeting. As was done with the local assistance item, we also moved this, the next year's lump sum allocation request, moved the item up, and that's item 147 is next.
Okay.
So Commissioners, item 147 is an action item. It's a request for the annual 1213 lump sum minor construction allocation. The department's requesting $58,197,000 for the 1213 minor program. They've also included a list of projects that they're proposing to deliver with that funding. Staff has looked at it, and staff recommends the approval of the lump sum allocation.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 37.
Yes, Commissioners. Each year, the Commission allocates funds to the Department for its right-of-way activities in an upfront lump sum that the Department then sub-allocates to individual projects. The allocation is based on program stip-and-shop projects that the Department anticipates will be in the right-of-way acquisition stage. Since right-of-way acquisition is more dependent on having a willing seller than on Department schedules, the Commission allows the Department the flexibility to acquire right-of-way as opportunities develop and not necessarily as scheduled. For fiscal year 2011-12, the Commission allocated $217.5 million for right-of-way activities. The Department reports that all $217.5 million will be spent by the end of the fiscal year. The post-certification and shop categories will underspend by $23.7 and $27.6 million respectively, and the STIP projects category will absorb the difference. Overall, the department is doing a good job managing the right-of-way allocation. Post-certification category is going down as more right-of-way acquisitions are happening prior to right-of-way certification. The final closeout report will be provided after fiscal year accounting is done. If I may, I will now do item 148, the right-of-way lump sum allocation for the upcoming year. The department is requesting that the commission allocate $227 million for next year's department right-of-way activities. Staff recommends that the commission approve the request.
So
Any
moved.
question? I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 38.
Chair Tavolini, I'm going to take these items for Kendra, who's not here. Commissioners, agenda item 38 is a final EIR, findings of fact, and statement of overriding considerations for the State Route 11 and OT Mesa East Port of Entry project in San Diego County. Staff would like to take this time to clarify the book item as written. Caltrans, as a CEQA lead agency, found that the impacts that are significant and cannot be mitigated to a less than significant level relate to traffic, transportation, aesthetics, cumulative growth impacts, and an increase in greenhouse gas emissions. Caltrans has found that these impacts are acceptable in light of the benefits to the public. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the final EIR findings of fact and statement of overriding considerations and approve this project for future consideration of funding.
Any questions?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item number 39.
Commissioners, agenda item 39 is the final EIR findings of fact and statement of overriding considerations for the Regional Connector Transit Corridor project in LA County. Commissioners, there were several changes to this agenda item that are not noted on the change list related to the environmental impacts of the project and the funding for the project, as written in your book item. The project, for clarification, the project will result in significant unavoidable impacts to transportation, circulation, air quality, paleontology, and cultural resources that not be reduced to a less than significant level with mitigation. LACMTA adopted a statement of overriding considerations for the project, found that the project benefits outweigh the unavoidable adverse impacts of the project. And then for also clarification, read into the record, the project is estimated to cost $1.366 billion, and not million, and $264.4 million in state funds, $367.8 million in local funds, $733.9 million in federal funds, and staff would recommend that the Commission accept the final EIR findings of fact, statement of overriding considerations, and approve this project.
Any questions?
So moved.
I have a question.
Does LA have any small projects?
Do I have a motion?
Yes.
Yeah, the motion and a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 40.
Commissioners, staff would like to take agenda items 40 through 43 together. These are final environmental documents, findings of facts, statements of overriding considerations for the Elk Grove Boulevard State Route 99 project in Sacramento County, State Route 210 Green Spot Road Improvement Project in San Bernardino County,
Oh, gee.
Balboa Park Station Area Plan, Phelan Loop Pedestrian and Street Beautification Project in San Francisco County, and the Kings Beach Commercial Core Improvement Project in Placer County. The CEQA lead agencies for these projects found that the impacts to these projects, they have significant unavoidable impacts. They've adopted overriding considerations for these projects, finding that the public benefit outweighs the impacts. Staff would recommend that you approve these projects for future consideration of funding.
Any questions?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number now what?
Yes, Commissioners, the next 8 agenda items, 44 through 52, are information reports deemed by staff not to raise any issues. As noted earlier, item 28 was added to the information calendar, bringing the total information calendar items to 9. The individual information reports will not be discussed unless specifically requested by a commissioner. And if there are no questions, we would move on to the consent calendar. But we need one more commissioner.
He's coming. Go ahead. He's listening.
Commissioner, the next 34 agenda items, 53 through 86 are consent items. The following changes need to be identified. Item 55, the construction year is 2013-14, not 2012-13. Item 58, the Monterey County TCRP project number 14. This item is being pulled from the consent calendar at the request of Commissioner Gilmetti to be acted upon after the consent calendar and in conjunction with item 166. Item 71, Director's Deeds. Item 16, San Luis Obispo 55, Director's Deed 00296701-2 is withdrawn. And item number 17, LA 105, has 2 deeds, not one, DK 071552-2 and DK 000913-0201. With these changes, staff recommends that the Commission approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And if we could go to item 58 now. And 166.
Thank you. Commissioners, those are 2 action items related to the Monterey Branch Line project being proposed by TAMC. And item 58 is a TCRP project amendment. This is the amending the application is the way that we provide additional time for TCRP projects.
Thank you.
Item 166 is a time extension request for Prop 116 funds allocated to that project. And the time extension, of course, is the way we would provide additional time for that project. The funding from both of the programs, from Prop 116 and TCRP, was provided to TAMC for project development and right-of-way expenditures on the project. And the project has faced a delay there's been several reasons, but one of the major ones has been in their circulation of the environmental document. They've had additional requirements by the Federal Transit Administration, so they've been trying to respond to that, and that also has delayed the acquisition of the right-of-way. Staff looked at the request and is recommending the actions, but Commissioner Gilmetti would like some discussion, and TAMC is here to present some.
All right.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
Somebody.
I'm happy to defer to the will of the chair.
Let me tell you what my concerns on it. It's not about the time extension. It has more to do with seeing a complete business plan. I was presented with a business plan which is basically just capital improvements. And I'd like to see on these rail projects that we have a operations plan, how we're going to operate, where the funding's going to come from. So there's a piece of this puzzle that's still missing. I don't want to get into another North Coast Railroad situation. I want to make sure that these transit projects are well thought out and that there's going to be funding available once we have all the capital improvement dollars in place.
All right. I'd be happy to address that and talk about the status of the project. I'm also here with our project manager, Christina Watson, who I'll ask to give some more details. So thank you for the chance to respond to your questions. I am here to support the staff recommendation regarding the funding extension to bring monies to passenger rail service in Monterey County. Our operations plan is based on extending the Capital Corridor service, and it's similar to the existing service that extends to Roseville and Auburn. Our plan is to have the service extend from San Jose down to Pajaro, Watsonville, and Salinas during the peak hours. First of all, I want to thank you all for approving additional capital monies in the 2012 STIP, and we did have pretty extensive discussions with your staff on the robustness of our entire financial plan. Just to let you know why we need the extension, as with our highway projects, the project delivery process is very incremental, and so we're working on a number of things at the same time relating to both capital and operations. Right now, the critical path is the federal approval of the environmental document. And although we have been delayed, as your staff indicated, we believe we're very close. We just had them down for a tour last Friday, and we hope that they will approve the release of that environmental document within the next couple of weeks, actually. So that's why we need some additional time. While we work on the federal approval, we have been then working on design of the project through our consultants, the platforms, layover facilities, and track improvements. We've acquired our first parcel, and we are just going to launch on acquiring our second parcel, but we can't launch the full acquisition until the environmental document is completed. So that's really the critical path. In terms of ridership and operations, this project is very cost effectiveness, and it has a fare box recovery ratio of up to 70%. Now, we are refining those costs with regards to having the capitals as the operator, but that's where the calculation is right now. And the reason it's cost effective is because it's not a new rail service like the other example that you gave, but it's an extension of the existing service. And it's focused on the peak commute times as opposed to middle of the day, weekend, or excursion service. We have been working closely with the capitals. We've been meeting very regularly. We have a working slot planned for the schedule, and we're working on a partnership agreement to take to our boards in the next couple of months. And we are listed in the state rail plan, so we are asking for your approval of these extensions to keep us going really on all of these different activities that are happening all at once. The goal is to start service in 2016-17. So again, like a highway project, that's not as soon as everybody wants, but it's relatively soon. So all the different pieces we're pulling together, but we don't need, we need certain money now, but we don't need all of the money right now. Before I turn it over to Christina, I know that Dave Kutrowski from the Capital Corridor is here, and he can talk a little bit about what we're working on together. Bill Bronte apparently is very ill, and so was not able to come and talk about how we are in the state rail plan. But we have been working closely with them, and I know Christina's been in conversations with the Deputy Director for Rail as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to Christina to talk about the operating details.
Thank you, Debbie. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Christina Watson, Senior Transportation Planner and Project Manager for the Commuter Rail Extension to Monterey County project. And I did want to mention that the acquisition that Debbie referred to was acquired under a hardship finding from the Federal Transit Administration, because until we have a final NEPA document, we're not allowed to proceed with the full right-of-way acquisition phase. So we did complete a business plan back in 2000. We've been working with Caltrans on the project study report and CEQA document. Both of those were finalized in 2006. And after that, we started working with the Federal Transit Administration with the alternatives analysis and the ridership analysis, which we completed in 2009, and have since been working on the NEPA document, the environmental assessment. And we are hoping to have one out for review this year by the public. And I did have some handouts passed around to you. One of them is the fact sheet summary of the business plan that Commissioner Gometti referred to, and it does not include information on the operations, and you're correct about that, and I apologize. Next version will have that information. We have been coordinating with the Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority on pulling together an operations scenario, a schedule, a decision on the equipment that might need to be purchased, and the exact costs of that. But we do have a preliminary draft capital operating cost estimate of $4 million annually gross, and with the very high fare box recovery ratio, that is $1.1 million net. But again, that is draft, and so we will be in the next few months finalizing the operating information with the Capital Corridor, and we'll be able to bring more information to this body at that time. It is a project that is relatively very cost effective because it's on existing tracks using an existing service that is already a proven success in the state and nationwide. Let's see. To date, we've already spent some of the funding that was allocated to this project. From the TCRP that you allocated for the design phase, we've already spent about $600,000 working on the designs for the 3 station locations, Pajaro, Watsonville Junction, Castroville, and the Salinas, including the Salinas layover facility and track improvements between Gilroy and Salinas. And we've spent about $100,000 of Prop 116 and about $3 million of TCR on the right-of-way acquisition that I mentioned before. And we are prepared to begin another hardship acquisition. We've also assembled a team to do the right-of-way phase, and they've drafted up a real estate acquisition management plan for us. So please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Christina, I mean, I like the idea of extending Caltrain down this far. I think it's a smart idea. My concern is that we're spending lots of capital dollars and we don't have our full business plan in place. So you can tell me you're going to get 70 cents out of the fare box. Who's coming up with the other 30 cents? Where is this whole plan that I can see? Okay, we're going to spend this hard dollars for capital improvements right away, et cetera. How am I going to pay for the balance of this thing once it goes into operations? That's critical to me.
Absolutely, yes. The project is in the state rail plan and has been for many years. So we are looking to the state to help finance the operations with the same source of funding.
You don't have a final agreement with them yet.
No, we don't. Since we're still in the environmental stage, we haven't come to the point where we are able to negotiate that final agreement.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you both for speaking to us today. My colleague, Commissioner Gilmetti, raises excellent points, especially after what we all experienced with the North Coast Railroad. There are legitimate concerns that have been burned into our consciousness. I support this, and I'll be moving for support. One, because that stretch of Highway 101 from San Jose to Salinas is both incredibly congested, only growing worse, and big stretches of that are major safety concerns as well. Two, the 70% fare box return, you're right, is not 100%, but it's one of the best in the United States for a rail project. Three, I would really like to see a commitment on a business plan coming back to us within the next several months. The other reason I'll support it, though, and it's a frustration that I think Jim and I and everyone on this dais share, is whether we're talking about a rail project or a transit project or a road project, nothing we build pays for itself in this state in terms of ongoing operation and maintenance, which is why we're trying to figure out how to have more SHOP funds, because we build roads and we don't have the funds to continue to operate and maintain them. So this isn't an issue that's limited to rail transit not being able to show that it can operate and maintain. It's everything we do in transportation, and that's why I've been so bullish on the great plan that Jim facilitated last year for the statewide needs assessment. So we got to look at this in the bigger picture, not just for good rail transit proposals like this one, but our road system as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Commissioner Henry.
I just want to echo the questions about the business plan. I mean, so much has happened since 2000 in terms of SB 375 and everything else in the world. And I realize that we all have processes we have to go through, but as a private sector daytime employee for most of my life, it's just mind-boggling that we would undertake things with a business plan that's 12 years old, so it's a challenge.
Yeah, the business plan is something that was sort of a framework that set the stage for the project study report, the CEQA document, the alternatives analysis, the ridership study. So we've been producing quite a bit of documentation on this project over the last 12 years. The business plan was the first step in that direction. And so all of those documents together could be seen as the business plan, and that's where we get all of our information.
So you think you have updated it?
Yes. But
and just to add, and I was looking for Mr. Kutrowski, but he may have had to leave. There he is. Sorry. He's holding us up back here. But one of the things that we have had to do, because it has been a lot of time, is that, in fact, we switched operators because Caltrain went through a number of different cost issues. And so we talked to the capitals, and they were very interested. We are in their strategic plan, which they just adopted. And so we are now in the process of updating all of that information. So Commissioner Gelmetti's suggestion that we come back with the revised operating information would definitely be something that we could do, and we're in the process of working on that with them.
I'd like to just get a motion on the table that we support staff's recommendation with the minor caveat that you will come back to us within 6 months with a business plan that is more up to date and includes your operations plan.
Both agenda items?
Yes, yes, sir.
You want to mention both agenda items?
Yes, and capturing both agenda items.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, so to clarify, the motion for the action is for both items, tabs 58 and 166, to approve those with the condition that they return with a business plan in 6 months.
Within 6 months.
Operations business.
I'm sorry, yeah, operations. Is that correct?
Yes. And does
Staff
that,
recommends
does that work for the applicants?
Can you do that, Debbie?
Yes, we're happy to do that.
Great. Thank you, Debbie.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Just a comment, and I certainly share the concerns that commissioners have about the business plan, but this has taken longer, obviously, than the agency has wanted to get these things done, and there's a lot of complications. But the fact remains this is a good alternative idea on a congested corridor. We're going to provide rail on the 101, which is the only major road that goes through a lot of that area that's already congested. So I think we want to help you get there. Obviously, we don't want to build a train to nowhere. We've had a bad experience, which is not your problem, but I do want to say I think that the agency has been making good efforts to move this thing along, and I know you've been frustrated, so we do want to work with you and make sure that at the end of the day, the whole thing is successful.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Take a vote.
Need a vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
We
taking
have a motion on that, and a second, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carried. Item, I believe now is 87.
Yes, Commissioners. Item 87 is a STIP amendment for notice. This is Route 98 widening in Imperial County. The amendment proposes to add some border infrastructure program funds to the project and to downscope the project limits to fit within the available funding. Staff has no concerns with the changes being proposed and will be placing this item on the consent calendar next month.
Thank you. Questions? Item number 88.
Item 88 has been withdrawn.
That's correct. Item number 89.
Item number
Action.
89, Commissioners, is a CMIA Project Baseline Agreement Amendment for the White Rock Road project to update the funding plan, and staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 90.
Item 90, Commissioners, is a CMIA Project Baseline Agreement Amendment for the I-215 Bi-County HOV Gap Closure Project to update the project funding plan and the schedule, and staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
Questions? Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 91.
Item number 91, Commissioners, is a CMIA Project Baseline Agreement Amendment for the Marin Sonoma Narrows project. This amendment is to include the new project components that you approved in the earlier adoption and to update the funding plan to reflect this. Staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Item number 92, Commissioners, has been withdrawn. Item number 93 is a Route 99 Project Baseline Agreement for the South Stockton Widening Project to update the funding plan and schedule, as well as to split off a follow-up landscape project. And staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
So
Question?
moved. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 94.
Item number 94, Commissioners, is also a State Route 99 Baseline Agreement Amendment for the Manteca and San Joaquin Phase 1 project and the Phase 3 project to revise the project funding plans and schedules, and staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
Question? Motion?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 95.
Item number 95, Commissioners, is a State Route 99 Project Baseline Agreement Amendment. There is a yellow document that replaces your book item for this, and staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
Question?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item number 96.
Item number 96, Commissioners, is a TCIF Project Baseline Agreement for the San Gabriel Valley Grade Separation Program. It's TCIF Project 15, to update the project delivery schedule and to segment the project and update the costs. Staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
So
Question?
moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 97.
Item number 97, Commissioners, is a TCIF Project Baseline Agreement Amendment for TCIF Project 22, the South Wilmington Grade Separation Project, to revise the delivery schedule, update the funding plan. And staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 98.
Number 98, Commissioners, is a TCIF Project Baseline Agreement Amendment for Project Number 47, the Streeter Avenue Grade Separation Project, to revise the delivery schedule and funding plan. Staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
Question? Have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 99, please.
Item number 99, Commissioners, is a TCIF Project Baseline Agreement Amendment for the State Route 110, Route 47 Interchange Project to revise the schedule and funding plan, and staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
Vote. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 100.
Number 100, Commissioners, is the TCIF Project Baseline Agreement Amendment for Project 20, the State Route 110 and C Street Interchange Improvement Project, to update the schedule and funding plan, and staff recommends approval of this amendment request.
Question? Have a motion?
Approval.
All those in favor?
Aye.
101, please.
Item 101 is a project baseline amendment for 3 projects in the TLSP program. This is to update the schedule of the projects in 2 in San Diego and 1 in the city of Compton. Staff recommends approval.
Question?
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
102.
Commissioners, item 102 is an action item. It's a financial allocation for SHOP projects. The request by the department is for 26 SHOP projects for $111,336,000. The department is ready to proceed with the projects and is requesting allocation. Staff recommends their approval.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 103.
103 is also an action item, also a financial allocation for SHOP projects. The department has 5 projects programmed in the 2010 STIP and is requesting a total of $114,603,000 for the 5 projects. They're ready to proceed with them, and staff recommends their approval.
Question?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
104, please.
104 is also an action item. It's also a financial allocation for a SHOP project. This is an advancement in Trinity County. The one project is in the program in the 2010 SHOP, and the request is for $1,400,000. Staff recommends their approval.
Question? I have a motion.
Move it. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 105.
Commissioners, items 105, 106, and 107 are requests for STIP allocations. Staff recommends approval of these items.
Move it. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 108.
Item 108 is another STIP allocation. This is a request for $11.882 million in state highway account funds for the Atwater Merced Expressway, Route 99. This is a very large state-only funds request. This is for right-of-way. We had been deferring this because of the size of the request till late in the year. We do have sufficient capacity to make this right-of-way allocation. Staff just wants to note that this is the construction costs on this project are over $50 million. It's a large project which can't be funded from the state highway account. The project is planning on competing for Route 99 bond funds. Should they not end up with Route 99 bond funds, they're going to have to go back and federalize it because we don't have that much state highway account cash to make the allocation. With that said, staff recommends approval of the item.
Question, Commissioner Asimi?
I'd like to ask a question of Jeff Brown, please.
You didn't think you were going to travel down here for nothing, did you?
I wouldn't miss Ontario without being able to come and address you specifically. Thank you.
You confident that there's enough savings in State Route 99 to get dollars for this project?
Yes, sir.
The 1B 99 bond.
Yes, sir, I am, as well as the rest of the Valley COG directors and the Policy Council representing the Valley.
Commissioner Asimi, yes, there will be sufficient to fund this project.
Thank you.
If there's no,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
if there's no other comments from any other commissioners, I'd like to.
Well, we have one. Commissioner
Well,
Bowman.
great minds think alike. That was the exact question I was going to ask.
Okay, all right.
I like to, based on that, I'd like to make a motion to approve this project.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 109.
Items 109, 110, and 111 are STIP allocations. Staff recommends approval of these items.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 111.
112. Item 112 is a financial allocation for two locally administered STIP-T projects. This request is not consistent with our STIP guidelines. As you know, Commissioners, when we allocate funds to a locally implemented project, our expectation is that if there's a cost increase, the locals cover that. However, from time to time, we do make exception to this policy. A couple of years ago, we had a situation in Mono County where they had built half a bike path and ran out of money. While telling them that's really not the best way to do it, the Commission did make an exception to guidelines. In these two instances, this is the cities of Doris and Dunsmuir, which are two of the smallest cities in California. In fact, when I went to look up the size of the taxable sales for the city of Doris, it wasn't listed on the BOE's website, and when I called them to ask why, they said it was because no one had asked before. They're really very, very small amounts. Staff will recommend exception to your guidelines and that we approve these two allocations. I would note that Brenda Baines, the CFO from the city of Dunsmuir, had traveled down to make a presentation before the commission today, and then had a family emergency and had to travel back home.
Oh my God.
But I know she has a letter. I'm not sure if she delivered that or we'll be sending it later for this. That said, I recommend approval of these two items.
I would make the recommendation that we approve this.
Happy to second it.
The chairman and I found a great bar there in Doris when we had to go visit their famous bypass. So I also will support this.
Well, then there should have been some sales tax reporting.
Yeah, really. I mean, there was unreported taxes.
Perhaps we need a location for a town hall there.
Well, we'll make another trip back and report back to you our findings as to whether the taxes were paid or not paid. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 114.
Item 113 is a request for $725,000 for a T project in Imperial County. Staff recommends approval.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 114.
Item 114. This is a request for $26 million for a small project you might have heard of in Kern County called the West Side Parkway. Staff is pleased to be able to recommend that we advance this project by a couple of weeks and do this allocation today.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Thank you. Item number 115.
Items 115 through 118 are still more STIP allocations. Staff recommends approval of these items.
Move it. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 119.
Item 119 is a request for supplemental funds for a previously awarded STIP project. This is a request for
$3 million to close out a project on Route 50 in El Dorado County. The issue here was related to the soil conditions that the contractor found. They sent in a claim. It went to arbitration. The final amount was $3.6 million. The .6 is covered by the city of Placerville related to some of the work that they had brought to the contract. So staff is recommending approval. It's a result of arbitration. There are not a lot of options.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to, go ahead.
Mr. Gilmetti?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and support this, but you brought up the question, and I've talked to Kirk about this before, is we need to develop a little bit better contracting practices in the department. So hopefully we can work together. We did this several years ago, and I thought we got on the right track. But I think we need a little more work on how we contract these jobs to protect the department.
Yeah, I would totally concur with Commissioner Gilmetti. It was the same comment and question that I had with some of the staff. I do want to point out, from my understanding, I mean, the claim was for considerably more, and they got it down to 3, and I don't know if that company's still in business anymore over this project, but that goes to Commissioner Gilmetti's comment. It seems to me that we need to be able to, if there's companies that have never done big projects and they want to play the big time and then they get into it, I don't know, there's got to be some criteria that we can develop. I know that Caltrans feels hampered that they need to go with the lowest bidder under all circumstances, but we got to talk about, figure out a better way to do that sometimes, because we get stuck with this stuff.
Well, those contractors certainly need to be qualified for that particular job, I would think. Have a motion?
Move it.
Have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 120 has been pulled, I believe, correct?
Correct.
Item number 121.
Item number 121 is a request for $900,000 for a project on Route 10 in Riverside County. This is a situation where back in February, there was a different project going on. There was an incident which caused, in that same vicinity, a severe traffic impact. Caltrans recognized that this project might have a similar impact. They went back and revisited their traffic analysis. They proposed some changes to reduce the construction work window and a few other changes in order to minimize the impact to the traveling public. Staff recommends approval of this item.
Any questions? I might add one thing to that, if I might, please. The work that they're going to be doing on the bridge, as I recall, the bridge is really should have been torn down some time ago, so it's really in bad shape, and I would appreciate when you need to move it. Do I have a motion?
Got a motion and a second.
And a second. Oh, do we? All those in favor?
And
no, you got to ask us separately for the vote.
Yeah. All those in favor? Aye. Item number 122, please.
Item number 122, Commissioners, has been withdrawn. Items 123 through 127 are CMIA financial allocations, and staff recommends approval of these allocation requests.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item number 128.
Item number 128, Commissioners, has been withdrawn. Items 129 through 131 are CMIA financial allocation requests, and staff recommends approval of these allocation requests.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
132.
Get a second?
I'm sorry. I got a second. We got a second.
Yeah, we got a second.
Second and third. Second.
Okay.
I think that's enough.
To clap, we delivered all of the CMIA projects at this point.
Our ceremonies are so elaborate. Move on.
Keep going.
Item number 132. I'm sorry.
Items 132 through 138, Commissioners, are financial allocation requests for State Route 99 projects, and staff recommends approval of these allocation requests.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now we're...
Item 139, Commissioners, is an allocation request for 3 TCIF projects, and staff recommends approval of these allocation requests.
Move staff recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 140,
Item 140 has already been approved, Commissioners.
141, I'm sorry.
Item 141 is a financial allocation for 2 TLSP projects in the city of Los Angeles. Staff recommends approval.
Move staff recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
142,
Item 142 is also a financial allocation for 2 HRCSA projects, one in Sacramento County and the other one is in Orange County. Staff recommends approval.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
143.
Commissioners, item 143 is an action item to allocate $1.5 million to 2 locally administered SLPP projects. Staff recommends your approval.
Move it.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
144, please.
Yes, 144 is a request for an allocation of $3.422 million for the Molden Parkway Smart Street Project in Orange County. I just want to note that this constitutes an amendment in the vote box because they were actually programmed for 3421, but I will recommend approval of this item.
I have a motion.
Move it.
Second.
Oh, okay.
Your motion is Fran. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Well, that's the way the Italians operate sometimes. Item number 1, tell me where I am.
Ontario.
That's just the way the Italians operate.
But we have a lot of fun. Well, I'm looking at 149.
145.
145. Speaking of where we are.
Well, I think I better take another look. I think 145 would be fine.
Commissioners, again, this is a request for an allocation of $1 million for a state-local partnership project in San Bernardino County. Staff recommends your approval.
So moved.
Second.
Wow, quick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 146.
Now 149. We get 46, 47, and 48 before. Those are the lump sums.
That's a no bad. Item number 149.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners, item 149 is an action item. It's a financial allocation for 3 STIP transit projects. Did I turn that up? Hello? It's a financial allocation for 3 STIP transit projects in the amount of $1,898,000. Staff recommends your approval.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item number 150.
Commissioners, item 150 is an action item. It's a request for financial allocation for 2 T projects in the city of Hercules. Staff recommends your approval.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item 151.
Commissioners, item 151 is also an action item. It's a financial allocation of for a rail project in the city of Hercules for PTA funds in the amount of $8 million. Staff recommends your approval.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 152.
Item 152 is also an action item, also a financial allocation for a rail project. These are federal funds in the amount of $3,142,000 for a project in the Pacific Surfliner, the Sorrento Miramar, and in the amount of $3,142,000. Staff recommends your approval.
In the memory of John Shocker, I move approve.
Only on the condition that we get a report on the rate of fare box recovery. Second.
And the on time.
And the on-time schedule.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 154.
153, Commissioner. Item, sorry.
That's what I marked,
That-
and I looked at
That's what
54.
you meant.
Thank you, you're on.
Item 153 is also an action item. It's a financial allocation for a TCRP project. It's the Sunol grade. It's project TCRP number 4 for $10 million. This is a Tier 1 allocation. Staff recommends your approval.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 154.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a dual extension request for both design build authorization and STIP funds allocation. At its January 2011 meeting, the Commission authorized the Riverside 91 Express Lanes project for a design build procurement method of construction. The Commission requires that a design build project be awarded within 18 months of authorization. And STIP guidelines stipulate that funds programmed are available for allocation only until the end of the fiscal year identified in the STIP. During the environmental process, this very large and complex project, RCTC has determined that the project needs to be phased and appropriate RTP amendments need to be processed and approved by federal agencies. After RTP amendments, air quality conformity findings and final environmental release can happen. RCTC is requesting a 12-month extension for both the design build authorization and STIP allocation requirements. Staff recommends that the Commission approve the extension requests.
I have a motion.
Move staff recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 155.
Commissioners, items 155 through 167 are the remaining items, and they're all time extensions. Staff sent out the spreadsheet. There's been a change since the spreadsheet was sent out. Item 162 is withdrawn as it's no longer needed. This is the last CMIA project you previously allocated. And with that change, staff recommends the approval of time extensions from items 155 through 167 based on the staff's recommendations.
A motion? So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
What? Any, what?
Commissioner Singh.
Are we adjourning?
Not yet.
Not yet. Before we
No,
adjourn.
go ahead. You have a comment?
Just had a comment about the AME. I want to recognize Jess Brown, who's leaving Merced County, leaving California, for his tenacity and trying to get this project rolling.
He didn't ask for my permission to leave California.
We have to reconsider that allocation, that vote.
Commissioner Inman?
Just on another note, we had a number of projects today that were located in Stockton. So I just ask our staff to stay engaged as the moving parts there, if that city declares bankruptcy, in case we have any partners that are now going to be in bankruptcy on any projects, and let us know if there's any action that we need to be aware of that we need.
Mr. Chair, before you adjourn, Director Dougherty would like to provide an update on the most recent breaking news on reauthorization.
I've received information by email probably in the last 10-15 minutes that says that they've reached a tentative agreement on the next federal transportation bill. John Mica was announced that a tentative agreement establishes federal highway transit and highway safety policy and keeps programs at current funding levels through the end of federal fiscal year 2014. Senator Boxer was also quoted as, "We do have a bill, there is an agreement." The bill text won't be published until Wednesday night, and it still does need to go to the floor for votes on Friday. So the bullets I got was final bill to floor votes on Friday, 2-year bill, Congress not working on an extension, no Keystone, no coal ash, and there were Senate concessions on environmental streamlining. So that sounds like good news.
Here.
Way to go, Vince.
And grow your arms a little longer, Vince.
Yes, Commissioner Gilmetti.
It came to my attention through a project in the city of Richmond. The funding was, as you know, we couple funding in a variety of ways, and in certain instances, cities and counties throughout the state are using redevelopment funds, or were using redevelopment funds. to match. In this case, the city of Richmond's going to be losing, I think, about $14 million towards this project, which is a project that's ready to go. I mean, they were ready to go to bid. But they can't be the only one left in the state that's been using redevelopment funds or planning on using redevelopment funds. So I would ask our staff and those who are left in the audience to really take a hard look and see which ones are in trouble, and we probably need to do something. I'm not sure what we can do, but these are projects that are going to be ready to go that aren't going to be fully funded. Amara, you want to comment?
Yes, Commissioners, we have had some bond projects with this issue. We've worked with those agencies. There was one in the city of Chico in particular that lost its redevelopment funding after we had allocated, and they are just now going to bid. It delayed the project about 8 months. So those are issues for agencies. We're dealing with them on a case-by-case basis and working with them to find ways to fill the gap and giving them additional time where necessary to do so.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Any public comments? Anybody want to talk? If not,
Ray, do you want to provide some information for the reception?
I'd asked Commissioner Tavallone to sort of stretch out the meeting, given in Sacramento we had 134 items that you guys ran through in about 2.5 hours or so. And we only had 168 items in front of us today. We do have a reception that we're hopeful that most of you can attend this evening, and hence the reason why we wanted to try and extend it a little bit to keep you focused until we got close to the time. We're going to have some buses that'll be out in front at about 4:15 this afternoon. We'd ask that maybe you try and come out and meet us out there around 5 o'clock, 4:45 or so. Those that are driving and a number of the members in the audience that will also be attending will have copies of the directions to get there. It's basically just up Vineyard Avenue. We're going to go to the Maloof House. Sam Maloof was a world famous woodworker, and most famous for the furniture that he made, and in particular a rocking chair. And so the invitation that you had a picture of his house and the rocking chair in there as well. So his house originally was situated, I think, on a 1/4-acre plot of land amongst an avocado grove, right in the middle of where we built State Route 210. And so through a lot of work of a lot of people that were very interested in trying to preserve his legacy, and while I said he was famous for making furniture, you'll have an opportunity to go through the house as well. He built his house, and the hinges, the door, I mean, it's really, really interesting. Everything is wood, and it's all handmade. It's really quite an interesting thing. So those that really enjoy woodworking, you'll like this place. But the reception's going to start at 5:30, and we'll be done and we're going to take you by bus back down to Rosa's for dinner afterwards. So please make sure that you don't turn on the golf tournament or Wimbledon or whatever's on right now, and make sure you're down by 5 o'clock to join us for the bus ride up to the Maloof. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Any other comments or any other word of wisdom here today? I want to thank all of you for being here and helping us get through, especially help me getting through with the numbers. So that with that, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.